Excellent, excellent. All right, hey everybody, happy Wednesday. So it's our reading day. So go ahead and I've got like hair in my hair. I've got hair in my face. You can go ahead and just start writing your questions in, and I'll try to get to as many of you as I can. I'm going to run through this. So I'm not my statements are personal opinions, not proven facts. Whatever decisions or actions you take in your life, you are of course 100% responsible and liable for them. You can change your future. It's never set in stone. I know a lot of people worry about that, but you really can if you want to. And lastly, I am not a licensed medical doctor, counselor, attorney, or law enforcement official. For legal medical advice or treatment, please consult a licensed professional. You can still ask me those kinds of questions, but I am not a doctor or an attorney or a law enforcement official, so you still need to check with a professional to get what you need from them. What else? Psychics don't know everything. They don't see everything. I don't know who started that bullshit, but it's not true. Psychics only sense things, and some psychics can only sense a little bit, just a little bitty amount. Some psychics can sense a crap load of shit. So it really comes down to that. So why do I have like hair like in my eye? I have like I can see this like one hair. I don't know where it's at. We are only able to sense what we sense, and so what makes us good or really accurate is how focused we get on those details, and then trying to make the best judgment call or the best guess off of the details. That's what makes us accurate. So that's what we do. So I can read minds actually, but it's not like I'm trying to read everybody's mind. So I'm gonna just need y'all to be specific with your question. So if you want to ask me a question, please be specific. Let me know what exactly you are asking me. Do not assume that I know everything about you, because I don't. I'm not that invested in everything that's going on in your life. I just need you to tell me what you need so I can tune in and then jump onto the answer, or to open up to the answer. So if you want to know about your health and wellness, finances, career and work and relationship, be specific about that. Don't just say, what message do you have for me, or I want a reading. You're wasting time. If you're just typing I want a reading but you're not asking your question, you've literally wasted the chance for me to actually see your question. So just write your damn question. What else? If you want to connect with someone in spirit, just let me know who you want to connect with, and I'll try to connect you with that individual and bring through something that may be significant or meaningful from them. I don't see them. I don't hear them. They have to communicate using only my thoughts, my emotions, and my memories, and they don't really get a chance to use all of my thoughts, my emotions, and my memories. They only get bits and pieces that they are going to be able to affect. And so my job is to pay attention to that and figure out where they're going with it or what they're trying to say. Sometimes they may trigger something that I'm pretty familiar with as far as like symbolic, and I may know where they're wanting to go with that. Sometimes they will actually be very specific and clear about what they're trying to communicate, and bravo to them for doing that, because it's not an easy thing for them to do, neither is it for me to do as well. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say to y'all. I'm going to do text first, and then we will do the video, live video second. So I'm going to focus more on just answering the text version of the questions, and then I'll come back like halfway through, and then I'll start answering. I'll start connecting with some of you. If you want to be on camera with me, or you want to come on video. And by the way, if y'all don't even know this, we use the video for the Happy Ferny Hour on YouTube for the show. So we use some of the videos for that are like, the highlights of the week. But if you want to come on and be video and you don't care, you're fine with being on video and everybody seeing you, you can request to do so at the bottom there. There's just two little and this is only on Instagram because y'all can't do it yet on Facebook and on YouTube, but you can request on the little bottom. There's two little people. If you click that, you can request to be my guest. If you are on Facebook and YouTube, you might get trolled because there's a lot of trolls going around nowadays. In anything that I do, even if I just get on really quickly on there's already haba laba asking everybody to private message them and to get an accurate reading from them. No one that is connected to me is going to message you on YouTube or on Facebook. So if you get a private message from some random person offering to read you, it has nothing to do with me. It is a troll. They're trying to take your money. Do not fall for it. And I know that people might think that people have common sense. They don't, because I've heard stories, and I keep hearing stories of people well, this person, I was in your live, and I'm like, fool, that had nothing to do with me. Was it my name? Did it have my name? It didn't have my name, so it wasn't me. So no, the only people that would ever contact you or connect with you would probably be Roxy, my assistant, or even Michelle or Kendall or Reagan, some of the people that help me out with the work that I do. So just FYI, y'all, and just report them as spam once you get a message from them, and then you can go ahead and block them, and then it'll trigger Facetube. Oh my God, there's a new platform already. If y'all have the money, create a platform called FaceTube. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go through this. Not everyone's going to get their answer. Not everyone's going to get their question answered because I'm only one person, but I'm going to try to go through as many as I can. So just FYI, okay? All right, so let's start here. Let's see here. Genovi Amador, hello Ferny, when will I become a grandma? Thank you. I feel like you'll become a grandfather, a grandma in about 2 years. I'll say 2 years at the most, but I want to say about 1 year and 7 months. There should be something already done. So I'm thinking about 1 year and 7 months. Okay, so probably by mid 2022. If you just ask me how does the future look like, again, that is a general question. Y'all need to be specific because you're not gonna get. I'm not even gonna waste my time reading your crap because y'all need to be specific and y'all know better. Let's see, Paula Torres. I know, and some people are like, Ferny, you're rude. You're like being rude to everybody. I'm not being rude. I'm just being direct. You can consider that to be rude. I would rather talk to somebody who's got sass and who's gonna be honest and direct with me than to talk to the most polite person who's just totally gonna mislead me or totally not do anything for me. That's just the way that I feel. So. That's how I feel, y'all. And if you enjoy me and if you enjoy the time with me, give me hearts and give me likes. And you can share the video as well to people who want to have a chance to get a reading too, who might need a reading with me. Okay. Chelly 920. Hi Ferny, I just recently moved to Texas. Do you see me getting a job soon, or do I need to reconsider my career path? I feel like you'll have job options, but it may not necessarily be in a specific field that you're wanting to kind of stick with. That may get a little bit challenging. I do think that you will find something in that path by December. So we're still got another 2 months. So I think by December you find, and when I say by December, that doesn't mean like only in December. It's like by December, like from now into December, you'll find something. But even that, I don't think that you'll be 100% satisfied with that. And then I think you'll just reassess your entire career situation or your move. I do not see you staying in Texas. I think that you will probably stay in Texas until next fall, 2021, and then you'll end up moving to a different state. And I think that when you move to the different state, it's because there is already a job waiting for you. So when you do move again, you may not have to go looking. You may already have something lined up to be able to make that change. Okay. Gloria Sedgwick. Hi, Ferny. Is my son who lives in Vegas get a job offer soon? I don't think he's going to get a job offer in Vegas. I think it's going to be in another area outside of Vegas. So it's not directly in the midst of Vegas. I think it's going to be kind of in an area outside or on the outskirts. It's funny because I kind of, even though I know Palm Springs is not in Nevada, I feel like I want to go south to that, like going south. So I don't know why. And I don't even know if they're nearby each other, but I just want to go south. So I feel like I kind of want to go that direction. And I feel like he might find something there in that way. Okay. Actually, when I'm looking at that area or territory, I don't even know if this is true or not. Y'all may have to tell me, but I keep seeing an aerospace company or engineering company or some sort of company that deals with like flying things. So there might be a job through something like that for him. And I don't know if there's a spot just like kind of southwestern of Nevada, kind of going towards that, but I'm kind of wanting to go there. So there may be something there for him. Okay. Aurora Gutierrez Brantley. Hello, Ferny. Can you please tell me if my ex-boyfriend has any messages for me? He passed a few years ago, and I feel like he sends me messages. Yes, feathers and birds are a connection to your ex-boyfriend. So I think that he uses that to get your attention. He also uses butterflies. So butterflies are another connection from him as well. He also, thank you. You might smell him, which is so interesting because I feel like I can smell him. So every now and then you might get the scent or smell that you only associate with him. He's just acknowledging coming around you. He is wanting to apologize for not trying harder. That's how he's making me feel. He also is acknowledging that he appreciates either how much patience or how much tolerance you had. He also is like pointing to himself. So I don't know if he caused his own passing or contributed, because he's pointing to himself. So I'm assuming he's wanting to take responsibility for the conditions that led to his passing. Okay. But he's okay. And he's almost wanting to thank you and also to ask you for forgiveness for not doing more. Alyssa Snell. Hi, Ferny. Any messages for my late husband whom passed tragically in a head-on collision with an 18-wheeler? Yeah, so first of all, he is pointing to himself. So he's making me feel like either he contributed to that situation or he might be responsible for that, because he's making me feel that. He also keeps acknowledging either the phone or like, because he's showing me phone or text. So either that has to do with what happened, or he might just be trying to acknowledge you know, having something on your phone and is, you know, I see a baseball cap. So there might be a picture where, look, there's that hair. There might be a picture on your phone and he's got a cap on. I'm almost seeing a blue cap or a cap with an A on it, because I'm kind of seeing that in some way. So he's bringing that up to me. He also keeps acknowledging, thank you. He's doing this, so there might be a necklace reference to him as well, because he's doing this, so there might be something that connects to a necklace. He showed me the number 3 as well. So either there's 3 necklaces, or the third is significant, like the 3rd of a month, or Jennifer March, or March is significant. He's acknowledging that as well. There's a baby with him in spirit, so he's letting you know that there's a child in spirit with him that may have been miscarried, lost, or terminated, but that is with him as well. So he's referencing that also. There's also a Yorkie. I think it's a Yorkie, or it's a smaller dog that's kind of like a Yorkie that's also passed, that may have belonged to someone. I feel like I'm Paris Hilton, like I'm walking around with this damn dog. So that's what he's showing me. So there's a reference to that as well. He also says that he's the one that either moved the bed or he caused the bed to be impressed upon, and that was him. Okay, let's go over here. Heaven 3535. Hello, Ferny. Do you, my guides, have any messages for me, please and thank you? Yeah, they're acknowledging you needing to follow through, and I think they're acknowledging this in reference to your career path, or to your healing or a psychic potential. So it's almost as if there's potentials there that you haven't really like done much with, or not enough with, and they're almost like following through. So you might just need to stick with something and roll with it, instead of trying to find a perfect time or a perfect moment to move forward with your own desires. They're also acknowledging, thank you. You need to be more aware of what you're reaching out to or what you're opening up to, because they're making me feel like you're too open and you're allowing too much energy to come in to you, or you're aware of too much energy that isn't necessarily conducive to you being more sensitive, or to you developing on a sensitivity level. Okay. Also, stop watching like crazy shows that are like that are representing paranormal experiences as just a negative, scary thing, because it's not going to help you. Anna Lady 01. Hi, Ferny. Do you see me having more kids, or will I stay with only one? I kind of feel like there will be more kids, but you may not actually have them. I do see 2 other children that you may become involved with, or possibly foster. But it feels like through people that you'd know. So these might just be kids that you begin to become more involved with through your family, through friends. There's a feeling of that. But I don't necessarily think you'll actually have any more children. Okay. Mary Ann Salas 140. Are the dragonflies I see my late mother, or a sign? I believe it is your late mother, but also ladybugs. So ladybugs are going to be another symbol as well. So ladybugs and dragonflies. I also feel thank you. She is acknowledging the month of January or the 1st. So I don't know if you're you're the number 1, or you're the first, or she's the first, but there's a first one. So either the 1st of a month or in January might be significant. She also keeps acknowledging the fruit tree. So I don't know if she had a fruit tree and y'all used to pick fruit from her, or y'all just planted a fruit tree, but she's talking about a fruit tree. So she's making reference to that as well. She also keeps, thank you. I know there's a Benji or Benny or a Benji name that is referencing. When I think of Benji, I think of an animal, but she's referencing like a Benji or Benny name that might be significant or connected as well. She also is acknowledging an anniversary date. So I don't know if we're within 30 days of an anniversary date, or she passed around an anniversary date, but she's just acknowledging that. Okay. Mm. It's Shali. Hi, Ferny. Today is my birthday. I was wondering if my grandmas or grandpas had any messages for me. Thank you. Yeah, definitely the grandmas because I keep seeing three females coming forward. So you might have more than one older female that's in spirit. I want to say there's a grandma and then there's a lady to her side, like one, like a sister or like a best friend that might be connected to one of the grandmother energies. One of the grandmas, thank you. I'm seeing Snow White in the Seven Dwarfs, so I don't know if there's a special connection to like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, or if there's something about the story or something about the special apple, but I'm kind of seeing that. So there's a reference there. They're also acknowledged, thank you. Grandmother, I'm acknowledging. Thank you. She makes me feel like I have pressure on my chest. Like I felt this pressure and I felt like either my chest was sinking in or like something was pushing in because she's making me feel this way. So that can mean a couple of things. That can mean either there was a heart effect on her or her lungs were giving in, but she's almost doing this feeling as well. I also, thank you. She's also acknowledging something about like something that may have started off as like an infection or something minor that might have like spiraled out of control or just completely lost control and didn't just affected her in this way. She also keeps acknowledging the month of February or the 2nd. So either February or the 2nd of a month is connected. She also keeps acknowledging, thank you. Carol or Cheryl or Karen or Carrie or Caroline. It's got a C or K, but it sounds like K. So it's almost like a Carol or Karen or there's some name like that they're trying to make reference to or acknowledge. When I say make reference or acknowledge, because somebody asked me that question. Whenever they give me a name, I have to assume some things because it's not like, tell Carol that I said hello. That's not what I hear. All I hear is car. And I'm like, okay, what is that? It's like, what is that? So I'm assuming it's a name because usually if I just get the sounding of something, I'm assuming it's a name. So I'm asking, okay, show me something that's close to it as possible. And then that's where the names start to show up in my head. And I'm seeing Karen, Caroline, Kara, Carrie. So I know that there's a name connection. And then my assumption is either they're acknowledging someone with them, they're wanting to say or bring up someone here, or that's usually it. That's usually it. Or they're wanting to say hello to that person. And sometimes they bring them up because they're going to go into more detail and they might bring up other details, but it's either to acknowledge the person here, to say hello to the person here, or to acknowledge the person that's with them. Okay? Emily Unkin. Hi, Ferny. I'm pregnant and I feel like I'm constantly seeing signals from my deceased grandmother. What is she trying to tell me? First of all, I feel like she's acknowledging that you need to make yourself a priority and make sure that you take care of yourself because she really wants you to take care of yourself. She's also letting you know she knows about the baby. So she's referencing that as well. She also says that you might have to make some decisions or choices about the way you're going to give birth because what you initially wanted to do may not be a possibility or you may have to kind of handle that in a different way. So she's almost wanting to give you a heads up, like what you want with the pregnancy at the end may not happen the way you want it. So you might have to make different choices around that. So that way, you can still have a successful pregnancy. She also keeps, interestingly, she's showing me a wreath. So I don't know if your grandmother was, if she ever liked to make wreaths or there's something special about a wreath that I would like hang in my front door or a special like wreath that's decorative, but there's a reference there because she's acknowledging that as well. She's repeating her name 3 times. So there might be people in the family who have her name, or that there's 3 people that may carry that name, but she's referencing that as well. She also showed me a ring, so there might be a ring significance or reference there. Okay. She was with you when you, she's acknowledging your wedding, so she's wanting to acknowledge your marriage. This much is true. Isaac Martinez. Hi, Ferny. Could you tell me if I have a presence following me? I always feel scared when I'm laying down, heading to bed alone. It's not a presence other than yourself. It's your own psychic energy. Because what's happening is you're basically, we as human beings, like we're in a physical body, right? We're in a physical body. We're spiritual beings inside of a physical body. But this body is only designed to hold certain types of energies. But our spiritual being is so much more than just what can be held within a physical body. So in other words, think of this. If I took a piece of paper and I rolled it up and I'm only allowed to see the world through this little hole. That's what our spirit is doing right now in the physical world. With that being said, sometimes when we are really disturbed inside, or when we're going through things, or we are either afraid or we feel vulnerable, that's energy. That's something that we are allowing to kind of come up within us. And if we are allowing that too much, it starts to become its own energetic thing that starts to separate from the body. And so what you're picking up on is you're actually picking up on your own energy, on the residue that you've left in your space, in your home, etc. So you probably need to clear your space out. You probably need to do like a smudging session, because I would suggest that. I also think that if you've gone through any major changes, if there's been any fights, arguments, breakups, etc. in your space, that's all residual. So you need to kind of clear it out. So I would suggest you do that, okay? Hey Shannon, when will I get a partner in my life? I feel like you're 2 years away from some sort of partnership. I would call it kind of a meeting of the minds, because I feel like it's someone who is very intellectually like focused. Like, like they're very much into being an intellectual and more science related, but you're more on the spiritual path. So I feel like there's going to be kind of an intercession where there's the kind of something like that. I also think that there might be some major we're gonna have to talk about this like on the side, because I feel like there's some major shakeups that are coming for you in the next couple of years, and you're going to basically have to rework your entire method right now of how you work and living situation, etc., because there's some major changes coming. But it's not a bad thing, but I think that it's going to lead to you possibly having the opportunity for a partnership. So 2 years, that's how I feel. Person's name is it's with a D. Don. I almost want to say it sounds like a D-O-N, Don name. Might actually be somebody you previously or in the past connected with. So it might be a reason, like a person coming back into your life. Hey, Top Dog. Oh, thank you. Thank you, 3 weeks she sleeps. And Lynn Santos, thank you, y'all. Y'all are so sweet. Lolly Bro. Is there something that my brother Tommy is trying to tell me from heaven? His anniversary was a few days ago of going to heaven. Yeah, so a couple of things. One is, first of all, he's like pointing to himself, so I don't know if he didn't take as good care of himself as he should have, because he's almost making me feel like either he contributed or he did some things that may have kind of gotten in his way to improving. He also makes me feel, thank you, he wants you to make sure you take care of yourself as well, because he says that sometimes thank you, he makes me feel like you put other people before you, and you sometimes become too overly concerned or overly involved with other people's situations, and that may not be the healthiest thing for you. He also is acknowledging the number 2, so February or the 2nd of a month might be connected. He also is acknowledging, thank you, the cardinals, so the red birds are going to be connection to him. He's also apologizing, because I don't know if you've had to take on more responsibility for like an older person in the family or for like parents or whatever, but he's almost apologizing for you not having or always having the support you needed. He also says he likes the way you I don't know if you just redid your living room or redid your bedroom, but he's acknowledging something about redoing some things. So he's probably just trying to let you know that he's around you and he can see what you're doing. This people always like, like what? But it's true. That's what they do. they know what we're up to. Marlene Pavi. Hi, Ferny. Could you tell me if my brother knows about my pregnancy? Yes, I do believe that your brother knows about your pregnancy. Also, there might be some really interesting synchronicities with the date of the birth in conjunction with your brother. So there might be something that connects the two together that you might find really interesting. Tibby Stephanie, Ferny is my sister at peace. I believe so. The way she's making me feel is that there's a lot of clarity that she has now that she didn't have before, and also the emotional like instability or the emotional like craziness feels so much better. She also makes me feel she's apologizing actually, so she's wanting to apologize to you and to everybody else because people may have really worried about her or felt as if she was going through a lot and they couldn't help her, or they wanted to make things easier for her and she just wouldn't always let that happen, or sometimes she could be a little stubborn, so she's making me feel that way. She also is acknowledging, thank you, the month of December, so the 12th of a month of December might be significant. She also keeps acknowledging a box in a closet that might be connected to her or have some significance to her, so there might be some special box or thing that she's wanting to make reference to. Okay, let's go over here. Kay Kirkpatrick, do you see me buying my first home this year or next year? I actually see you buying your first home in February of 2022. So I think it might actually take a little bit longer, but I think that it'll be the right fit and it might actually be almost a steal. It's going to feel like a really good deal for you. The financing might be a little bit tricky, but it's just because of the way the banks are going to be operating at that time. Okay, so you might have to try a few different approaches. Cassie Escoto, hey, help Fernie. I don't know if I should go to California for work or work out my life in Texas. I feel like you're going to end up going to California. So I feel like the issues in Texas aren't really going to get any better, and I just don't feel like they're going to improve in the near future. So I feel like you'll probably end up going to California. I'm actually seeing a move for you in December, so I'm thinking you're going to end up in California and you'll be there by December. Erica Sanchez. Hi, handsome. Want to know who my spirit guides are, their names, and any messages they have for me. Thank you, hun. Love you. Your main guide. You have two guides. They're both male. The main guide's name is Michael, almost like Archangel Michael. It's not an angel though. It's a guide. Guides and angels are two different things. People always think that angels and guides are the same thing. They are not. They're very different things. And then when you think about angels, there's actually different things in that, because there have been beings in the past that have kind of interacted with humanity that people would associate as angels, but they weren't actual angels. Angels is kind of an energetic being that we feel, and it's almost like pure love. And so sometimes we see physical like appearances or of things, but it's our brain showing us the closest thing we can relate or understand that has to do with that. It may not be the actual way that they look. But I'm going into a tangent, sorry. I'm like, where am I going with this? Michael is your main guide. The secondary guide's name is Amran. Michelle Lee, will I get married to Billy? I feel like this is going to be, there's going to be an attempt in December, or there might be a conversation or an intent to resolve this or to figure this out in December. But I actually think there might be a little bit of a break or some period apart, and then there might be a reattempt at trying to figure this out. I think the opportunity is there, but are you like straight point blank? Are you going to get married to Billy? As of right now, I'm not thinking so. I actually think you might get really discouraged, but I think the opportunity is going to be there. It's just a matter of how is it going to come, and if you're willing to accept the way that would come, because it may not be the ideal version of what normally happens. Like people want, like, you get on your knee and you beg me to marry you, and you better have a piece of jewelry or I'm not going to do it. Like, that's like a very ideal version. Honestly, like, I think that when people love each other, you shouldn't have to go through hoops to try to be with that person. You should just be with that person, and that person should be honored to share their experience with you. So I don't really believe in the whole, like, you better get on your knee or whatever. It's nice. It's a romantic thing. But at the same time, it's like, what about the guy? Like, why should he always have to be on his knees? And then if you're two gay guys, who's going to do it? So it just comes down to that. But here I am going into another tangent, but that's the way that I feel. Okay. All right. We're getting close to the halfway mark, and then I'll jump onto some video ones. Angelica Melanie. Hey, Ferny, any messages from my grandmother, Lily? Thanks in advance. Yes, it's funny because even though you're saying lily, I'm also smelling lilies and seeing lilies. So I don't know if there's a special thing you do with buying lilies for grandma, or there's actually, you've bought lilies and that's connected to grandma, where there's a reference there. She's also acknowledging a ring, so there might be actually two. There might be two rings that are connected to grandma because she's making me feel like there's a two ring thing. She also keeps referencing, thank you. There's a, I don't know if it's a Dotson, you know, the long, like weenie dogs, the Dotson. There's like a dog that she's wanting to like acknowledge. So there's a reference to a dog in that way. She also talks about two babies. So there might be two babies with her in spirit who were either miscarried, lost, or terminated. But I kind of feel like it's both. I feel like one of them is a child that was lost, but then another one might be one that's coming into the family or still needing to be born. There's also a reference there. She's trying to give me, I don't know if she's trying to give me a nickname or a name. Charlie, Chelly, Chila, Charlie, Chelly. It's almost like a nickname that she's trying to give me in that way. She's also acknowledging your mom or wanting to reference your mom. And it's funny, I don't know if you and your mom are not getting along, but she's doing this. So either she and your mom didn't get along, or you and your mom are not getting along, or she's trying to acknowledge whatever this thing is with your mom, but she's wanting to acknowledge your mom, so she's bringing her up. So she's wanting to, that's her way of also saying hi. She's also, thank you. There's also two, I don't know if you have two other siblings, but she's acknowledging the two others as well. So there's a reference there. Okay. All right, let's get on here. Let's see who wants to come on. Oh, let's see. Let's go here.
What up?
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, sweetheart?
Good. How are you?
Good. What did you
Sorry,
want to
let me
ask?
go into the other room.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. What did you want to ask me?
So I had a stepsister who passed away suddenly, and I also had a friend. His name was Justin, who also passed away suddenly.
Okay, so
So
with
I
the
wanted to
steps,
see if there are any messages from
yeah.
them.
So with the stepsister, so immediately with the stepsister, she's pointing to herself. So she's making me feel like either she may have contributed or she may have brought about her own demise. Do you know if she actually contributed to her own passing?
No.
Okay. She's also pointing to her lungs, and I feel like my lungs are like they're not able to. I can't breathe. I can't breathe, and that's the way she's making me feel. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. She also makes me feel. Thank you. Was there actually like a hit on her lungs or a hit in her chest? Because she's making. I almost feel this way. Like I want to collapse in on my lungs. That's how she's making me feel.
No, she actually passed away from epilepsy.
Mm. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Then this. Okay.
So,
She's. You know. I'm asking her like, okay, why did you point to yourself? She's still pointing to herself.
well, her
So
daughter was with her, and she was only one when it happened. So her
okay.
daughter was kind of jumping on her, trying to figure out what was wrong.
Oh, okay. Got it. Because I feel like something's hitting me in my chest. Got it. So if her daughter's trying to jump on her or whatever, that may have been what she's talking about. Do you know if she was taking 3 different types of medications and there was an injection she was supposed to get for something else? I feel like all of this kind of contributed and brought about like the reaction within her body. I also feel that she was trying to wean off or get away from one medication. Was she like a big proponent of like, I'm going to treat myself, or I want to go natural, or I want to.
Yeah.
I feel like
Not only that, there were a ton of medications that they put her on, and it was to the point that there was nothing they could do for her.
Yeah. So she's making me feel like she may not have, thank you. She's putting her hand over her mouth, which first of all, which means I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. But that also means I didn't say everything to everybody, or I wasn't reporting to everybody what else was going on. She also talks about she had hurt herself, or something happened when she was in the shower, she was in the bathroom, and there might have even been a mark on her. And people thought, well, what happened to your leg? She's like, oh, I just tripped or I banged myself. Do you remember something like that? Seeing something like that?
I don't.
Okay.
We weren't talking towards her past.
That's okay. Because she's acknowledging like she had I almost feel like she had a minor seizure and didn't even tell anybody about it, and she had like fallen in the tub where she hit herself because she just
like her.
Got it. She's very prideful. She's a very proud person. She doesn't ever want to admit to being weak. She's also very critical. She wants to take the time to apologize to you because she feels that she criticized you and tried to make you feel crappy about yourself at times, and she didn't mean to say that. And so she's like, I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like you weren't good enough, or like, you know, like I was better than you or whatever. But it was an issue that she had always dealt with when she was younger. She makes me feel, did her parents not stay together when she was younger? Okay, because she makes me feel like that was the beginning of when she started to feel the rejection. And it's almost like anytime she would get the chance, she tried to make herself look bigger, make herself look better. Yep. And so she had a big issue with this. She also, thank you, doves are going to be a connection to her. She also keeps acknowledging white feathers or white feather boas, which might sound weird. So if someone ever hands you a white boa, that's from her, because she's making me feel that way. She's writing on my skin, did you think about getting a tattoo and then you went against it, or you decided not to? Yeah, because she's like, don't make yourself ugly. Like, I don't know, she wasn't into tattoos, or she didn't want you to mess up your skin, but she's acknowledging that as well. There's a baby with her in spirit. Do you know of a child that was miscarried, lost, or terminated? Because she's acknowledging the baby. Okay, so she's acknowledging that. Also, who's Ben or Benjamin or Ben or
I know she had a
Ben or Bud
at the time, and he's still in her daughter's life, but I don't know his name.
That's okay. There's a Ben or a Bud, because I feel like it's a short B name, and it's almost like 3 letters because that's the way she's doing it. Or Bon. It's like there's a nickname or a name like that, but she's referencing that. Also, is there a Melanie or a Melissa name, also a M-E or M-E-L?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay. The M-E-L, I feel, is someone that's with her. So someone who's passed, who is M-E-L, like Melissa or Melanie or Melinda. It's got an M-E-L kind of sounding name, so there's a woman that's there as well. She also keeps, thank you. She wants to say hi to your dad. So she's acknowledging your dad and wanting, thank you. She just showed birthday. Do you know if we're within 30 days of a birthday, or if there's a birthday within 30 days?
My sister's birthday just passed.
Oh, got it. So she's acknowledging herself. She wants to acknowledge your dad. So she wants to make sure she says hello to your dad. She also said, thank you. I'm sorry. Did she give your dad a hard time, or did she not always like make it easy for him?
Yeah, no.
Okay. She's apologizing for putting him through hell in a handbasket, because she makes me feel like she didn't always like do what she needed to do to be a good daughter, but she wants him to know that he was a good dad, and she wants to give him props for that. She also says, congratulations. Did someone just find out that they were pregnant?
No, not that I know of.
You might want to go get tested. You might want to go get tested.
Okay.
Because she's giving me like congratulations. So there might be a pregnancy in the family. She's also repeating her name. So someone might take her name and reuse her name as well, because she's acknowledging that as well. She's giving you a unicorn. Do you have a horse or unicorn connection to her?
Our sister might, yeah.
Okay, because she's showing me this. I also feel like I'm looking at a shirt. So there might be a shirt with a rainbow, a shirt with a unicorn. There's something about this, because she's making reference to that as well. She also says that it's a lot easier up there than people realize, and that she's like, she's funny. She's kind of sarcastic. She's like, had I known it was gonna be like this, I would have jumped off a bridge years ago. Like, that's how crazy she is. So she's like, yeah.
She is.
Yeah, she did show up in your dream, but you may have not seen her head, or you may have only seen a part of a body, but she's acknowledging that she showed up. She's okay. She's like totally okay. She also says you don't have to pray for her. So I don't know if there's like a pushy praying approach. Was her family very religious, or do you know if she had like a very religious upbringing?
So her dad, my stepdad, our dad is very religious, as well as my mom. Super religious.
Okay. She's acknowledged. She's like, you don't have to pray for me. She's like, you can just think of me and love me. I got it. So she's almost rolling her eyes at them. So it's kind of funny. She's like a smartass. She thinks she knows everything. I'm like, you're not that smart, sweetheart. You're there. You're not here anymore. But she's just like, no. She's like very in love with herself. Let's put it that way.
She is.
You said there was a friend that passed also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know if there was an impact relation to his passing? Because I feel impact, and I'm almost seeing my head as well. Do you know if something also affected his head or his brain?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. He also keeps acknowledging, thank you. I wasn't paying attention, or I wasn't watching what I was doing. So do you know if he actually contributed to this, or he put himself in a situation where he didn't pay attention and it caused the impact?
He was drunk. And he was driving a...
Got it. Well, he was trying to use his phone at the same time. He was trying to do 2 things at the same time, and then he wasn't watching what he was doing either. So he's kind of acknowledging this. This wasn't the first time he had a vehicle accident, though, because he's acknowledging that he had done this before. He also says that people tried to warn him that this could lead. It's almost like it's not a surprise I'm here. Like, it's, I don't know why anybody's surprised. Like, it's almost like people would have expected him to pass at an early age because he comes across that way. He's showing me this. Did people make bracelets for him, or just does there connection to this? Because he's acknowledging that. He also is showing me tattoos. Are there 4 tattoos connected to him?
Yes, a bunch of our friends got tattoos for him.
Got it. He's acknowledging that. He also says he pulled or yanked on your hair, and you may have even thought your hair was stuck to something for a bit. So, do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Because he's acknowledging that as well. He also says, I don't like you in pink.
Okay.
So I don't know if you wore pink once, or there's something about you wearing pink, or you trying to wear a pink dress, but he's like, I don't like you in pink. So I don't know what that's about. It's funny because, you know what it reminds me of? Like, whenever someone's going to get married and people are wearing their bridesmaid dresses, that's what I'm reminded of. So I don't know if there's going to be a wedding and you're preparing for this, or there's something about wearing pink dresses, but there's something there he's making reference to. He also, thank you, he's doing something funny. He's almost like doing this like with his nose, but he's like trying to make a face. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a picture of him doing like this or trying to like pretend like he's poking someone's nose. But he's acknowledging that. He says that I am proud of you for standing up for yourself. He also says, I don't want anyone to talk so disrespectfully to you. And did you have to put your foot down with another male, or did you have to kind of like, okay. He's wanting to let you know, like, he's aware and like he's glad you stood up for yourself. He also says you can totally be, thank you, you can totally get on camera, or you can totally do a show. He says, don't let anybody tell you that you're crazy. So I don't know if you're wanting to do like online YouTube channel or videos or stuff, but he's like, you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you you're crazy. Okay. They're okay. They're with you.
Perfect.
They're with you. There's another guy with him as well, but that's a military passing. So someone who passed connected to the military.
Okay.
So he's got someone with them. And it might be like his brother or his cousin, but this, it almost feels like it's someone, right? Rodney or
Ryan?
Could be. Is that a military?
So his cousin just passed about a couple of months after he did.
Yeah, he's just letting us know that the cousin's there with him.
Okay.
All right, Mama. You take care of yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so let's see. Who's next? Who's next? All right, let's see. Let's do Jaden. I think I started Jaden last week, and then we didn't get a chance to finish because her connection kicked out. So let's see. We can get her back on here. Hello. Did we start a connection and then you got cut off or something?
Yeah, my phone died last night.
That's okay, no worries. I don't remember what we talked about last time, but you might have to just re-trigger. What did you want to ask me?
Just if my stepmom Carrie had anything to say.
Did she have a very like? Could she be sometimes critical or kind of a little demanding?
Yeah.
Okay. She's apologizing for that. She's almost like, I always meant well, I always meant well. So even though, you know, it may have come across sometimes as like rejection or as like not being good enough, she's like, no, like I always meant well, because she's acknowledging that. She's putting her hand over her mouth. Whenever they do that, it means I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, or I wasn't able to speak before my passing. Did you not get a chance to speak to her?
No.
Okay, so she's acknowledging that it's okay that y'all didn't get a chance to talk. She also keeps referencing, thank you. This is gonna sound weird. I keep seeing deers in my head. I don't know why. Do you know if there's a significance to watching deers or seeing deers or something about a deer?
I don't know, cause like, so I have 2 stepmoms. I feel like you're maybe connecting with my other one. She got hit on a motorcycle, so I don't know. Not by a deer, but like a car. So I don't know.
No, that's not it. No, this has to do with a picture. I almost look at a picture of a deer. Do you know if one of them had a picture of a deer? There was something about the deers in the forest, the deers going across the picture.
No.
There's something there. Okay, there's something there. It's okay. I'll leave that with you because you might have to figure it out. It might be like a buck, but I feel like it's a deer or a buck. There's something there. There's also a reference to E. Is there an Emily or Emil or L name?
No.
There's an EL. Is there an Ellen or an Eleanor name?
Not that I know of.
Who was the nurse? Who worked at the hospital?
Oh, I don't know. She broke her back last year, so I didn't go I didn't see her in there at that time, so maybe she's trying to say something about that.
No, no. There's a female who's there who worked as a nurse or doctor or worked in a hospital, because there's a female there, and she may have even passed with like cancer or breast cancer. There's a female there that passed or had these issues. So there's an acknowledgement to this female there. Might have not passed that long ago because they're almost pushing her to. There's 4 females. So I got 4 females. So assuming that we're talking to your stepmothers, and then we've got this other female that's your last stepmother, your mother's passed, correct? Your grandmother?
Mm-mm.
There's a grandmother there. Do you have
my mom's mom died.
Okay, so I've got grandma there. I got the 2 stepmothers, and then I've got this other female that they're wanting to make sure I acknowledge her. She either worked in the hospital or she was a nurse, or there's something about being in the hospital, not just the illness, but the actual work. And there's something about this EL name or Ellie or Eleanor, or there's a name that's connected. If you don't know who this is, or this is,
I think it could be my cousin Kyler and her daughter Isabella, and then there's Kennedy too. I don't know.
No, that's okay. And I'll leave that with you. You will figure it out. But there's this EL person that is somehow connected to you, to let the family know, this EL person, that they are okay and that made it over. Okay, just to let this other person know. Okay, with that being said, with your grandmother, let me just go to grandma for a second, because the stepmothers are talking over each other, and your grandmother is kind of popping more clearly. First of all, she keeps putting her hand over her mouth. Did you also, was your grandmother not able to talk, or did she lose her ability to speak?
I don't know. She died before I was born, so.
Okay. She's making me feel like losing mobility or losing the ability to use my body. So something might have happened to her that kept her from being able to like use her body. She also makes me feel, thank you, she's acknowledging a connection to the birth dates. Do you know if she shares her birth month or her birth date with someone? Because she's acknowledging the connection.
I'll have to ask my mom.
Okay. She also keeps referencing a picture of her where she's wearing sunglasses. Do you know of a picture of your grandma where she's wearing sunglasses?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's acknowledging that. Now, the smell that you sometimes pick up on, that you're like, where is that coming from? That's your grandma. So your grandma comes around and she uses smell to get your attention. Your 6 and 4. Okay, so when I'm asking about stepmothers, I've got 6 and 4. Do you know if one of them was your stepmother for 4 years, the other one was your mother for 6, your stepmother for 6 years?
Well, they were both in my life, since like I was 3 years old, and then the other one since I was like 11 or 12.
Okay, they're saying 4 and 6. You know if the number 4 and 6 are connected somehow? 4 would be, Jennifer, would be April or the 4th of a month, and the other one would be 6 or June.
Born in April. One of them was born in April.
Okay, got it. So they're just wanting to make sure I understand some of those details, and then the 6 as well. So there may be a connection to that 6. Sunflowers. One of them is, they're talking over each other, so I'm just going to act like they're both talking at the same time, and we can figure it out. They're giving you a sunflower, so they're acknowledging sunflowers being significant and connected to you. One of them is also acknowledging, thank you, the red robin or robin is significant. So there's something about a red bird or a red robin. Now, for me, red birds are cardinals, but I'm hearing it as a robin. So there might be something about a singing robin or Robin Hood or robin. There's something there because there's a reference there as well. One of your... Did one of them pass of an actual illness while the other one passed? You said the other one passed of like a car accident, right?
Right. Well,
Okay.
We haven't gotten the autopsy back yet, but we were thinking it was some kind of overdose, but she broke her back.
It was
really sick and
yeah. No, I'm not. I mean, you can say that there's an overdose. I don't think that's it. I feel like there's something about a clot or an aneurysm, because it feels like there's something like that that would have been contributing, and either it went to the heart or it went from the heart to the brain. But there's almost like it starts with the heart and then winds up with my head, because there's a reference to the one that y'all are doing for. She also makes me feel, you know, if she had been a bit of a drinker, or she liked to drink.
Yeah, she.
Got it. So she's acknowledging this and this being a contributing factor or aggravating her condition as well, because she's making me feel that way. She also keeps acknowledging, thank you. She's singing. Do you know if she ever sang, or there's a video of her singing, even karaoke?
Probably, yeah. She's always really outgoing and stuff. So,
Okay, because I feel like I want to go out and have a good time, but she's singing, so she's just there's something like this because she's making a reference to that. Do you remember seeing her when you were waking up?
no.
You were waking up, and she popped into your head, and you thought maybe you were just remembering or thinking of her, but she says she popped into your head. She also said she had a hat on, or there was something about a cowboy hat.
Yeah, I think I remember that because it was
Okay,
like the first time I'd seen her since she.
got it. She's just acknowledging that that was her, that that was just her trying to let you know she was around you. She also says, "Thank you." Do you journal? Do you not always share your thoughts with people when you like to write them out or journal? Okay. She says, I hear your thoughts. I know what you're thinking. And so she's acknowledging this as well. She also says, have patience with your dad. So I don't know if your dad isn't always the easiest person to get along with, or sometimes he can be a pain in the butt. She says, have patience, have patience, have patience. She also says, you don't have to be like us. You don't have to be like us. She says, you can hold yourself to a higher standard. You don't have to be the way that we've all become. So she's almost making it clear that you can live a very different life than the way you've been brought up. She also says, I'm proud of you. She also said, thank you. She's just said, happy birthday. Are we within 30 days of a birthday? Because she's acknowledging birthday.
I had a birthday back in August, but
Okay. She's,
my dad just had his birthday
that's
though.
it. That's it. She said happy birthday because it has to be within 30 days. So she's acknowledging your dad's birthday. She also said, she's writing on my skin. Do you know there are 2 tattoos that are going to be connected to her?
I'm not sure. I'm sure her daughter Aubrey's probably gonna get one for her.
Okay, because she showed me 2 tattoos. One of the tattoos feels like it's got letters. The other one just has like flowers or something really flowery. But there's a reference to both tattoos, so there's a reference there. She's with you, sweetheart. She's with you. She also says it's okay if you are you thinking about relocating or moving?
Yeah, I moved out to this like in the middle of nowhere, and I've been like wanting to leave. So,
Okay. She's like, it's okay if you want to go. Like you can leave. Like she's almost giving you permission to like move or leave. She's like, you don't have to get stuck there. She also says there's surprises in December, so keep your eyes open. Okay.
all right.
All right, sweetheart. You take care of yourself.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, guys are getting close to the wire here, so I might have time for 1, maybe 2 more. Let's do Violetta.
Oh my
Hello.
God, Ferny, hi.
Hi, sweetheart. How you doing?
Hi. Oh, okay, let me just breathe. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay. Well, I want to ask you a lot of questions, but the first one, okay, I'm gonna get pregnant again. If I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna have a baby girl, or what I'm gonna have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm
Yes,
shaking.
I do see a pregnancy. Actually, it's 2 or 3 months, so you might be dealing with a pregnancy in about 2 or 3 months from now. So it might be soon.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a boy.
Okay.
It's a boy.
Boy, oh my God, no, don't tell me
Yeah.
that. Okay. Oh my God, I'm shaking. Okay. I have another question. I have an autistic son, so I want to know if he's gonna be able to be like in his on his own when he grows up. Oh my God, I can't even talk English.
No, you're
I'm
fine. You're fine.
shaking.
So I think, so I do think that your son's going to need some extra help. I actually think that there's
Hey,
going to be
stop.
some sort of group or organization where they provide some sort of, I want to call it like a Big Brother program. It reminds me of that, where it's almost like someone that acts like another parent, but they actually it includes coaching or training him to communicate better because it's going to be difficult for him to communicate. He's not always going to communicate
Yeah.
clearly. I don't feel he's ever going to be 100% on his own without someone being there to help him. So I do think that y'all are going to still have to be there for him. But I think he can learn to be on his own for periods of time, which I think will help
Okay.
you out and make it easier for you.
Oh,
Okay.
that's him.
Hi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna ask you. One last question.
One more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My sister, his husband is in jail for like, I don't know, like 13, 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like always waiting on him, like she's always been for him. And I want to know if he's going to be able to, like when he gets out of jail, like, are they going to be good? I mean, fine. What's going to happen with them?
Yeah. Do you know if he's supposed to get out in 2 years?
I, it's supposedly to get out like next year.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
It,
gonna happen.
it might get delayed, or she might have to wait until like early 2022. I do think that he will get out. I do think that they'll try to work on it. I don't think they're going to stay together.
Okay.
I, yeah, there's some things I don't want to say in public, but all I would say is that he only tells her so
Just
much, and there might be things that are going on that she isn't fully aware of.
I know, I know that I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because I
totally
feel
agree with
like,
you.
you know, wherever he gets the attention from is wherever he's going to get it from, and it isn't always going to come from her. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
sweetheart.
Thank you very
You're
much, love
welcome.
from Cabo, Mexico. And I'm sorry, I'm like
You're
this.
fine. You're fine.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome,
Bye
sweetheart.
bye.
Bye bye.
How can I hang up on this? Oh
I'll
my
hang
god.
up with you. All right, I think I'm gonna get one more in before I am done for the day. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Looking for, oh, let's do Natalie. Let's see if Natalie can get on. I think I tried Natalie last week too, and it cut out on her. Her phone died too. Let's see. Hello, Natalie.
Oh my God! Hey!
Hi, sweetheart. How you doing?
Oh my God! I am so good.
Good.
I tried to FaceTime you the other night, and you I declined it.
Oh, you're fine. No, it happens
I didn't
sometimes.
mean to though, and it started
No, you're
falling.
fine. It happens. It happens. What did you
Oh
want to
my
ask
God!
me?
Hi. Okay, so I have a question. I died, and I didn't know I died. So I was in a black tunnel, and the light was far, far away, and I wasn't like going towards it.
Yeah.
And then, and like it was really quiet and everything, and I just want to know, like, if I would have not came back, would I have gone to the light?
Yeah. The reason why you weren't going further is because it wasn't time yet. And had you gone further, you would have. Here's the thing, like sometimes you're a very intense and sometimes very sensitive person. And I think sometimes you take things very deeply. And for you to experience, you know, I think in your life, you've always tried to find happiness or contentment. And I think for you, regiment and like trying to plan everything out and control everything is a bit of a habit for you. And I think if you had gone further and started to experience the amount of intense joy and love you would have felt, when you came back, you would have literally like not lived the same way at all.
Right.
And too much would have changed. And you made some changes, but too much would have changed. And you wouldn't have fulfilled your commitments here. So they were trying to make sure that you were aware that there is something more without actually having the full experience, so that you wouldn't become a completely different person when you got back.
Because I probably wouldn't have wanted to come back.
Right. You wouldn't have wanted to come back, but you still, even if you had gone further down the tunnel to feel the fullness of it, if you had done that and then come back, you probably would not see the value in some of your experiences that you really care about in life right now. And you would have made completely different decisions. And they're like, we cannot interrupt her decision-making process.
Thank you so much. This happened 2 years ago, and I've been battling it every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you've got work to do, sweetheart. You're not going anywhere anytime soon, but they needed you to have faith in something real. And I feel like before that happened, you weren't really buying into faith or belief anyways. You were kind of like, yeah, it's whatever. And so I think now is a chance for you to know that there is something more, and you have the opportunity to explore that, but you need to explore that in this lifetime, because there are things you're meant to learn and understand from your connection with Source that you can only experience on this level.
Okay.
Okay. All right, sweetheart. There's a book that I want to recommend because they're telling me to tell you about it. It's called Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsh.
Okay.
It'll help. It's not a religious book. It's just a spiritual book. But Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsh. There's a film, but the film is just how he created the book. The actual book itself is what's worth it. And there's three books that make the whole series. Actually, there's 4 now, but it's a big book. But Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsh.
Okay, and I will get that.
All right, sweetheart. Oh, go ahead. And you've got less than a minute. Go ahead if you want to ask me one more thing.
Is my baby son trying to come through or anything? Carter. I lost my uncle.
Yeah.
I lost my dad's.
Yeah. get her on here. Let me turn off my
I was like, oh, let me get off of here.
girl.
Yes.
How you feeling today?
Yeah. I'm actually okay. Like, I just kind of, I think you told me this a while ago. You were like, just release your energy from that stuff. And I was like, okay. So like today I was like, I don't even feel like being connected to this. So I might show up. Like,
yeah. You might show up. Girl, it's going to be all right.
It's too
going to be
much.
all right. It's always too much.
Absolutely.
It's always too much. You know, it's funny because like I was reading when I was doing the reading ahead to do all the notes. It's funny that they're talking about some things that are kind of going on in the world right now, or they're like things that could totally directly. They're always doing that. Like whenever we're reading, like, oh, that totally relates to what's going on right now, or what we just experienced, or whatnot. So,
everything's synchronicity and miracles.
Exactly. All right. Well, you want to start it, or you want me to start it? Let's see.
Okay, so I'll read the question and a few of them. You want to split because it's long, or how do you want
yeah, no, it's definitely long. What I would say is let's break it up. So, because it's only going to be, because normally when we do the, like, of Course in Miracles, we read like several of the passages, but this week is not necessarily a short, like, y'all, on the idea of cooperation and coming together and collaboration is actually the key, and it's the fail-safe. It's the, if we get stuck in this lack world mentality, how do we get out of it? And the key is to re-acknowledge and remember that we are actually all one, pretending to be separate. We are all one, pretending to be divided. We are all one, living in an illusionary world. And if we come together and cooperate and work together and re-acknowledge, remember, and see the divinity in each other, it actually creates the fail-safe. It's the exit. It's the way out of it here in this physical world. But that may never happen here. And because, again, the lack is actually built in for a reason. So it's almost like, okay, are we mad because we created such a playhouse that promotes drama to overcome the drama so we can have kumbaya moments and have a lot more of those? But we're here to play and we're here to participate in the drama. So it's almost like, like what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. For one, I'm mad.
Yeah. So if you want to stop desiring more, then stop desiring more.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, I have a group of people that I know, and we had a long conversation about like being millionaires, and like I get it, but like that's not what moves me, you know. So I think what I believe and how I operate is hard for people to really grasp, because they're like, well, why wouldn't you be seeking the highest level you could? But I'm like, for me, that's not my highest heights. Like, I want to feel my best. That's it. Because I know what it feels like to feel your worst, you know?
Yeah. Well, when you try to achieve those levels of achieve those levels of prosperity, and you can call it prosperity because people equate money with prosperity, but money is just a resource. It's just something you can use to do things with. That's all it is. It itself is nothing. And the glorification of money is actually like just the worst thing you can do if you're trying to be prosperous. You know, many years ago, back when I was just starting out in law of attraction, I made the rookie mistake that almost every person that I know who's a law of attraction or a intentional manifestor makes, which is, I want to manifest like winning the lottery or having like all this money. What I used to do is I used to sit out in the front porch of my house, and I used to say, okay, if I won the lottery, well, because you're saying, you know, live in that energy, live in that beingness. So I was like, okay, well, I already won. Now what? What do I want? And back then, in front of my house, I would dream of, well, my neighbor's house is falling apart. I would offer to paint her house and do some basic work to her house so she doesn't have to worry about, like, you know, her roof and all this other stuff. I would get our sidewalks redone, even if I, you know, paid for the bill so that the neighborhood could have some decent sidewalks. The house across the street, I would, you know, tear that down and put something up that was going to be more, you know, pleasing to the eye because there was kind of a hippie that lived out front, and all these guys would come and they were like druggies, and they would just sit out there, and they would just be like, you know, and there would be couches and big old fat rats just like running around like maniacs. I mean, you could see them, and trash bags full of garbage up there. So I was like, I would tear that down and do a bunch of other things with it. And then there was a house down the street that was dilapidated, and it was actually a historical house. And I'm like, I would restore that to its former glory, or to make it look really pretty. And I would, you know, buy out the fourplex next door, and I would, you know, turn it as like a nice fourplex instead of like it being owned by the guy who was like the slumlord that lived there. And I would make myself a driveway that was custom made, all these different things. I would give myself a gate opener, like all these little things that I could think of. Within 2 years, within 2 years of that, and I used to spend hours in the front just reading and just pretending, if I won $1 million, what would I do with it? And then I would actually dream about the things I would do, not necessarily about the $1 million or whatever. Well, within 2 years, the city of Houston had this program and offered my neighbor to help fix her house. So they redid her house for her. I didn't have nothing to do with that. They also instituted a program where they were going to basically redo the streets. So our sidewalks and our streets got redone. The owners of the store across the street from us, they purchased that empty lot behind the store, and they actually tore down that house that the hippie lived in. So that house was gone, and they were, you know, going to put a business there or whatever. The house next to mine, the fourplex, it was sold by the slumlord to a developer. He bought it and he made it into a nice like luxury style complex. I was able to come up with the money to have my driveway made, and so I made a custom driveway. So all of the things that I wanted to do. Oh, and the house developer that bought it, he was doing just a basic flip on it. And when he did the basic flip, he would always come to my house and take pictures of my house, because my house was old, you know, like it had the old classic features from a house 100 years older. So he had already had the windows replaced, but he loved my house so much, he had all of those new windows replaced with windows that matched up to what we had at our house.
Wow.
And so he had it completely redone to its former glory. And so it got redone. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So everything I wanted was done without me even lifting a finger to get it done, aside from the driveway. And it was just me, like, and so was it coincidence? That's a lot of them do what they need to do the way they need to do it. It's okay. Like, you don't need to, you know, it's okay. And I'm like, so I have to like talk to myself to like chill out, Ferny. Like, it's going to be fine. You know, it is what it is. It's funny because I had a friend, I don't know if he's watching or not. His name is Rodney. And I was like, we had a conversation, and he was like, you know, Ferny, I think I need to do a YouTube channel. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get on it. I'm like, I think you should make it a cooking show. And, you know, you're a person that believes in like holistic living. Make it about holistic living, even though you know, have money, or you're earning from your company or the business you're associated with. It doesn't have to be about that. Just tie it in, but make it about what you really care about, which is holistic living, because that's not your passion. You're good at it, but that's not your passion. Your passion is this. So make it about that, you know? Well, yeah, but, you know, I want to do this and I want to do that. I'm like, oh, you're just thinking about, you know, I want to make a lot of money from it. Yeah, I get that. But now you're turning this into something else. If you focus on just expressing yourself in the passionate way that you feel right now, don't worry about the money, because it will show itself up in the easiest way possible. So stop it. But it's almost like you get into your head because you want to be successful, and people think if you're not making money doing that, or if you're not, you know, achieving high status for that, then it's not a success. No, because it is a success, because we all have to build ourselves up to whatever we're going to build ourselves up to. You know, I wasn't always the easiest. I wasn't always the easiest person to get along with. I wasn't always the, you know, the most insightful person to deal with. I wasn't always the best psychic or the most accurate psychic. I wasn't always those things. I had to really build myself up to that. And even then, it's not like I'm a perfect version of myself. I'm still going to be who I need to be for me, but that's okay. You know?
You know, I was going to tell you before we move on real quick that the number one thing that you said to me, and I'll never forget, is you were like, do not make this podcast about making money. And ultimately, then you will make money. And I have never forgotten that. So like, even though like I'm not abundantly wealthy from it, I still show up and I still take care of my podcast feed, because I will never forget what you said about it, you know?
Yeah, you have to. Like, you absolutely, I know it sounds counterintuitive because I know it's funny because when I think of like Kendall and I think of my friends and they're like, what are the numbers? What are the, I'm like, I don't care. It's like, it feels right. It looks like what I need it to look like. I'm doing what I feel I need to be doing, and I'm going to just keep doing it. And, if it just turns into, I did this for 10 years and I've got all of these episodes of all this podcast, but I never made a dime off of it. That's okay. Because if one person hears what I am saying and they're thinking about committing suicide that day because they don't feel there's a reason to live, but I've just given them an entire framework of reality that they didn't even think was possible, but syncs up to everything that they've experienced and helps them to understand their lives and helps them to ascend to a higher conscious level. If one person prevents themselves from killing themselves, I think 10 years is a good, I think it's a trade. It's a good trade. Like, okay, well, good. I saved one life. I changed one person in this world, and they might do something incredible with that. So, okay, so be it. And it's got to be about that. So you have to go into something without the desire for gain. If you go in with gain, the immediate, and this is actually what she's talking about next, the immediate thing that happens when you're going into a activity or doing something for someone because you want to gain from it, the number one thing you've just done is acknowledge that this is a world of lack, a reality of lack, and that the reality is that you have to get something to give. You cannot just give. But when you just give to give and you feel great doing it, and it is something that you really like seeing when you're doing it, that means that you are acknowledging the divinity in all of life and you are honoring creation, and creation has no choice but to honor you in return. So you will receive in the process, but it can't be about that. You have to just give, because it has to be about that relationship with source and with the universe.
Yeah.
What notes did you write on that one? Because you didn't read your notes yet.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't number them because I was just scrabbling. So I think I said, wait, which one was it?
We're still
about the tyrants.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is it. We make a choice every day to decide how we'll show up. Once you decide to live a more spiritual lifestyle and create the proper foundation, source messages and direction will flow. And your confirmation of rightness is synchronicities and miracles. I think that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm not sure if that's that's right down one.
No, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I wrote, if, I don't know if I wrote this already or not. If you try to serve your highest form while also serving the lowest form, and there is an impasse in being, then neither are served, and it invalidates the effort or intent. Only what is true within the choice and intent of the individual progresses regardless of the desire or will of the individual. So in other words, that old, I think it's a biblical passage that says, God can see your heart, or God knows what's in your heart. God knows because what is in our heart, which is our core being, is the accurate representation of what we're being here. But if we're saying one thing, acting one way, but it's not what's actually within us, then we're doing two separate things. We are aligning ourselves with one path while we're also intending the opposite. So if we expect the opposite to come from it, it won't. We're only going to get what we're putting most of our energy into and directing it. So free will is a personality trait. It is not the same as the funneled energy of soul. If I choose to do something in my life, I'm probably choosing it from a personal preference, a personal, reality. But if something shows up and I choose to follow through with that, which is the flow, which is the energy alignment, then I'm actually fulfilling my highest purpose, and I'm doing it intentionally. But if I'm only trying to achieve personal goals for myself, I'm only going to achieve the maximum that allows, and I will never achieve the fullness that creation could offer. So I might achieve a personal goal and I might become really good at it. And on the outside, people might think it's success and it is the most that, someone could have. But internally, I may feel emptier than I did before I even endeavored to do that. That's why people say, like, you know, you think all these people who have all this money and all these people who are famous and stuff, like they're, you know, they've hit it and they've achieved and they've arrived. No, because there's a whole nother level of problems and issues you have to deal with when you get on that level. And not only that, but you're probably dealing with some of the most superficial people you can probably deal with. You're also, there's a lot of like political, like internal political like stuff with people who are in those positions of power and of you know, dominance. And so it's a whole nother layer, and people don't realize there's a lot more that comes with that. I just got a book. I haven't even started reading it, but there's a book that I got, and it's called, it's about this guy who was an entrepreneur. He was able to build a company up to the multimillionaire status, and he sold his company for like a crap load of money, and he was living the life. And he says that he was actually at his like most unhappiest at that time, and that the people he knew who were also entrepreneurs who had arrived were also in the same boat, and they were more likely to become, like, they were more likely to have breakdowns, to be drug addicts, to go into, like, you know, be sex fiends, etc., because they were just trying to find relief from those experiences. And I get it, I understand, because it's a whole nother ballgame. It's a whole nother level of pressure that you have to deal with.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel like you're in a spiritual drought when you operate from that level, because you have everything, so you don't ask for anything. You don't have to talk, you know. You don't have to say, God help me, or are you there, or anything, because you're like, I'm rich. You know, you've made that your source.
Right.
So,
and that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with being rich or being wealthy, but most people who are at that level do not go within. They continue to sustain without, and they actually get better at the refinement of the superficial living perspective, and they don't actually focus on what's going on inside of themselves. So what else did you write? Was that all you wrote there?
Yeah, that was all I wrote on that one.
Okay. All right. What was the next thing that she said, or what was the next?
The next one is, to change your mind means to place it at the disposal of true authority. The miracle is thus a sign that the mind has elected to be guided by Christ in his service. The abundance of Christ is the natural result of choosing to follow him. And then I wrote, choosing to become the kind of person who operates in a Christ-like way will help you to find your individual and personal alignment, which is also your purpose, what you feel like you're supposed to be doing here, you know?
Yeah. I put, the soul's path is established and set from a higher form of being that aligns with the being of creation. The individual or personality chooses from the perception of lack, which is not truly reflective of the soul intent, which is perfect, because the soul knows better. The personality doesn't. If the personality or mind choose differently than what is established on the soul level, then the individual will suffer by their own choice and affiliation of desires. They become slave to a limited perspective that does not achieve full alignment potential. In other words, if, like, and this is, I use my lottery thing as an example. I thought I wouldn't ever, again, rookie mistake, be happy until I had all of this money. But as my life has transformed because I did the work, I'm in a financial place where I don't have to stress out about money. It is no longer a motivating factor for me. And so what happens is I can, okay, well, what else is there? Because there's only so much that you really need to feel okay with not having to worry about money. And most people, they actually don't need as much money as they think they do. They just need their bills paid for and a basic comfortable level of lifestyle to be covered. And then after that, it's just, at that point, it's more of a statement. It's more of a trying to make a point or trying to, like, show off and stuff like that. And so it comes down to that. So what I would choose for myself is going to be very fixated on that individual, like, perspective versus what my soul has in store for me. And my soul may not want me to go through that process. My soul may want me to understand the relationship with money, understand the incremental process of growing financially, because in those incremental processes, there are some important lessons that come from dealing with money, from being involved and you know, handling money. A lot of people who win the lottery end up broke and, you know, completely, they're filing for bankruptcy within a year or two because they have completely forgotten they thought it would never run out and it would never end, and they never stopped to learn how to do it, how to use it. And so they ended up screwing themselves in the process, and they were worse off than before they had it. And so the people who actually go through this incremental process are the ones who actually gain the most, because they can at least give themselves a chance to catch up to this drastic change for themselves.
Yeah, you end up like MC Hammer, bankrupt in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I follow this other guy named Dave Belter, and he always talks about how he lost all of his millions. And like now, of course, he's financially wealthy again.
Yeah.
But he spends all of his time doing this, going live, doing coaching for other people to help them with their mindset, because he gets it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, someone like that who understands that, they are probably going to have a harder time of not having anything. And they'll also have the easiest time of being okay when they don't have anything. So they actually have found a kind of a fail safe there for themselves. You got people like Trumpy here, who he's like filed for bankruptcy and lost all his millions, like what, 7 or 8 times now. And so he's able to recreate that prosperity for himself. But his prosperity mindset is based around, it doesn't matter whether I have it or I don't. I'm always going to act like I have it. And even if I owe bills or I owe things, I don't have to worry about that, because I'll always be able to repeat the process of having all of this without having to be accountable to it. So there's a lack of accountability to the money, to the financial abundance that you received. So he's still living from that place, but he's not actually utilizing it to the most that he can. And so of course it's going to not be a sustainable thing for him, versus people who, you know, like, you know, who was the richest man's name? The guy who's the richest guy alive? What is his name?
I surely don't know.
Wait,
Warren Buffett, that guy?
Yeah, Buffett. There you go. Where, you know, he still owns the first house he ever bought, you know, and he still has it. And so it's because there's a sense of appreciation. Like, even though I'm the richest, I'm not going to act like it can never run out, because I want to take care of and I want to honor what this is. And so he'll probably never have to deal with that reality. And it also, it's the same thing. He'll still have more and more of it coming in. So, the following is in relation to the question of sex. You are involved with unconscious distortions, which are producing a dense cover over miracle impulses, making it hard for them to reach consciousness. Sex and miracles are both ways of relating. The nature of an interpersonal relationship is limited or defined by what you want it to do, which is why you want it in the first place. Relating is a way of achieving an outcome.
So this, I feel like, is so relevant, because you see so many people recklessly jumping in and out of relationships and bed with each other, just seeking this deep connection. Because a lot of us, and I know, like for me, like my dad was emotionally distant. So I was always just looking for somebody to show me love. So that's what I was running after, you know what I mean? Like, if you do not do the work that she's talking about before, which is coming to your highest level, the highest level you possibly can, and then seek a relationship, you will be doing this. Because you don't have to be sexually connected. You don't have to. I mean, is it fun? We like it, yes. Yeah. But it's not required for you to have a relationship. Like you and I have a relationship, you know? Like you can have relationships with other people that will fulfill you, that don't have those sexual restraints on them, you know?
Yeah. You know, I think that sex is one of the I don't want to say symptom, because it's like when something is being like expressed or shown, or what is the word? Not symptom, but let's call it a reflection. Sex is almost like a reflection of connection in truest form, but it isn't the only or the most extreme way. It's almost like looking into a pond and seeing the reflection in the sky and thinking that, oh my God, that is so beautiful. Look at that. I'm like, girl, look up, because you're looking at the reflection. You're not looking at the actual sky. And I think that's what sex is for people. They equate that way of connecting and that intimacy as a way to align in some way to someone, or becoming engaged with someone in a way where it feels like the truest, most accurate, most authentic, most intimate way of connecting. And it's not. It's almost a shadow of what it actually is to be connected. But because some people in their lifetimes are so devoid of connection that and especially women, because this happens a lot more with women, because women are allowed to be emotional creatures, growing up, most women, versus males who are trying to, are guilted out of being emotional. But, women, whenever people are seeking a connection in some way, and they have that one romantic experience where they feel so intensely engaged with someone through an intimate act, they grasp onto that like no one's business, and like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. You've got to be my soulmate. You are the person I've been looking all my life for. And it's almost like when you're so hungry and you're walking in Costco and they've got samples out and you have one sample, it's the juiciest thing. It's probably gonna be delicious because you're hungry and you ain't had something to eat in a while, but it's just a sampler. It's not a full meal. And I think that a lot of people, when they have that intimacy, that connection in sex, they overly attribute all of this bigness to it when it isn't. Sex is just a physical construct. It's a physical method for us to bond and connect in a physical way, but it's still a physical thing, which is the physical world is an illusion. The physical construct is an illusion. It's all illusion. And so it's almost like, it's not really the grandest. But if you think it is, then you become obsessed with it because you want the connection. The reason why some of these people are sex fiends is not because they love sex, but because they love connection. And it's the closest thing they can get to having a connection with Source that they can achieve. And so they're actually overly deficient in their faith or in their connection to Source or God because they are only using this sexual connection as a way to connect. Even if they're not emotionally expressive during sex, they're using it as a way to kind of have something. Now, of course, there's some people that it's all about the physical, feeling of it, but you still have a lot of people who are just obsessed with it because they feel like it's the only connection that they're getting in their lives.
Yeah.
She hung up. Her battery done died. That's what happened. Her battery done died. So let's get her back on here as soon as she figures that out. So I'll read the next one. So she'll jump back on here in a second. I'm gonna read the next one. The following is in relation to the question of sex. You are involved with unconscious distortions, which are producing a dense cover over miracle impulses, making it hard for them to reach consciousness. Sex and miracles are both ways of relating. The nature of any interpersonal relationship is limited or defined by what you want it to do, which is why you want it in the first place. Relating is a way of achieving an outcome. So when people are trying to, oh, there she is. There she is. She's like, I'm sorry. She's always trying to apologize. Where's she at? Where's she at? See, it says you can't get on. So I don't know what you're doing. Maybe it's your phone. Maybe your battery died. And you're typing from your computer. But so in other words, even if we are relating in a way where and when we say miracles, we are talking also miracles. We're talking about the experience of synchronicities and of alignment. So when you are experiencing, you got people who are like law of attractioners or manifestors, and they want to create all of these alignments, but the alignment isn't actually what you should be working to have. You should focus on the things that will allow you to have an experience you desire, and the alignments actually come as a byproduct of it. That's the word byproduct. So sex, intimacy, that kind of connection is a form of intimacy. It's a form of experiencing. I see it, Michelle. My phone is acting. I told you, girl. I told you about the phone. So sex is just a byproduct of connection, but it's not the fullest form of connection. It's the same thing as when we're in relationships, or we get really caught up in having a relationship with someone or bonding with someone. It's still on this surface level as well. So it's not the fullest way to connect. Same thing with people who are obsessed with attracting things in their lives, law of attraction, etc. They're thinking that that's everything that it should be about, and it's not. Those are byproducts of you actually aligned. They're not actually the focus that you should be trying to achieve. So this is what they say. It's about the journey. It's not about the end game. It's not about what happens at the end. It's about the journey, the process, and going through it. We didn't all come here to achieve an ultimate purpose and to achieve an ultimate thing. We came here to experience ourselves figuring that part out and then realizing that really isn't the most important thing. Our awareness of each other as individuations of source is the most important thing. Our experience trying to go in a direction that serves our highest purpose is the ultimate thing. And our goals may only be very, very reduced, very insignificant focuses that we are coming up with from a very basic, superficial human conditioned level. So that's what I see that as. Let's see, Michelle, you still she still ain't got on here. She still ain't got on. I'm gonna see. Nope, unable to join. She still ain't got on here. The next one, indiscriminate sexual impulses result in body image misperceptions. This is an expression of an indiscriminate attempt to reach communion through the body. This involves not only improper self-identification, but also disrespect for the individuality of others. Self-control is not the whole answer to this problem, though I am by no means discouraging its use. It must be understood, however, and the underlying mechanism must be uprooted. A word you should understand well enough by now not to regard it as frightening. And what I wrote, because I'm running out of time here, I'm about to end, but what I wrote here is, if the personality mind chooses differently than is established on the soul level, then the individual will suffer by their own choice and affiliation of desires. They become slave to a limited perspective and does not achieve full alignment potential, which is what I wrote before. And then to change your intent and direction means to accept the will of the soul regardless of personal desire. This in turn allows for full alignment potential and the achieving of the highest capacity of the persona and individual. And the next one I wrote is, if you intend from the perspective of physical experience, then you distort your understanding of your highest form, destiny, and identifying with connection. Destiny and ability to align with them. Sex and synchronicities are ways of identifying with connection. By becoming too attached to them specifically, the individual is only attempting to achieve an outcome for their personal being, rather than acknowledging highest form and aligning fully to its intent and being. So in other words, you need to figure out what your soul wants before you can align fully with it. But you don't have to know it all. You can just follow the energy within you, because if something doesn't feel right and it's misaligned, then you're not going to see any proof that it's aligned on the outside. You'll run into a lot of roadblocks that continue to show up, and it's